Welcome to a new series on my channel where we take a look at characters from fiction and ask if their action was good or evil. And in today's video, we are talking about the one and only Negan. And we are going to be asking the question on if his actions during the series was good or evil.
Let's meet the man. Pissing our pants yet?
Now, let's look at what he did pre-apocalypse. He was a gym teacher, and he kept his students in line through intimidation and bullying. And he lost his job after getting into a fight at a bar with a man that his kid went to the school that Negan taught at. So he's not really off to a great start. But even more damning is what he did to his wife, Lucille, and he ended up cheating on her, and the only reason he stopped the affair is when he found out had cancer, which is definitely not earning Negan any points for him being a good person. But one thing I can say in Negan's defense is after the chemo treatment ran out, he did go to try to get some more in the apocalypse, but Lucille begged him not to, and after he left, she even committed suicide. So he indirectly killed her. But another thing that does go toward Negan's defense is after Lucille killed herself, Negan returned home and found a note on the door saying not to leave her like this. And as we're not totally sure what happened, we can assume two things. Either he killed her and then left the house on fire and went to form the Saviors, or the other option, that Negan did not kill her, burned down the house, and left. And so this could be either a point towards or against Negan, however the viewer feels. So this one is actually up to you. Now let's discuss when he first met Rick and his group, because this is where it gets complicated. And that's with the death of Abraham and Glenn, which was one of the saddest in the show, but we're going to take a look at and actually see if his actions was justified. Rick attacked one of Negan's outposts and killed many of his men while they were sleeping, so Negan felt like he needed to retaliate against Rick, and Negan's original plan was simply just to kill one of them, until Daryl punched Negan and caused him to retaliate by killing Glenn, which, if you look at it from his point of view, would be justified because Rick did kill his people and he only killed two of them versus however many was killed by Rick's group. One thing that cannot be justified is Negan toying with his victims before they die and toying with their loved ones. But what cannot be justified is that he forced the Kingdom and also Hilltop to give him half of their supplies, and as we saw from Rick's group, getting that much stuff wasn't easy, and it puts countless people in danger, including several main and side characters. One character that was killed because they didn't have enough supplies was Benjamin. As we see, they were a little short, and the result was Benjamin being shot and later died from his injuries, which, yes, it wasn't done by Negan himself, but it was done by one of Negan's men, and that does mean that he was responsible for this death. And Negan did have rules, though, that even though he did a lot of bad, he at least had some lines he would not cross. One of those is rape, and as we see, as David is trying to rape Sasha, Negan discovered what David was going to do with Sasha, and because David broke the rules, Negan simply just stabbed him in the throat, killing David on the spot because he broke the rules. And as we see throughout the series, is that is one thing that Negan will never tolerate. But there's one other thing that we have to discuss also, is that he would not kill kids. That is one line that he would not cross for the most part. We'll get there in a second. But with his relationship with Carl and Judith, we see how well he does do with kids. And the one line he would never cross is killing a kid. Except for the one time that we're getting ready to discuss. One moment where his code began to blur is when he almost killed Carl. And he was only saved by Shiva. Now, I believe that Negan could have very well went through with this if not for the arrival of the kingdom to save Alexandria. Now, as we look at this moment, I believe this is one time where his anger and ruthless nature that he has got the better of his judgment into where he was really going to kill Carl. And this is a point, obviously, against Negan. I don't even see how he will be able to be redeemed. And, of course, with his actions during the war, like when he killed all those people, destroyed Alexandria, I just don't know how he could be redeemed. But they do try. Now we're going to take a look at his actions and see if I believe that he can be redeemed. As the war was coming to an end, the lines between justice and vengeance grew thin as Rick, chasing Negan down, gun in hand, was trying to kill him. Their battle was brutal as they both delivered hits, but Negan was overpowering Rick. There was too much on the line in this battle. Negan knew that if he lost, he would be killed or captured for the rest of his life. But Rick used manipulation as he talked about Carl. He used Negan's trick against him to lower his guard so he could. Rick slits Negan's throat, but in the end does decide to save him. And after Negan wakes up, Rick declares that he's going to spend the rest of his life in a jail cell. And the first time that the Negan act starts to crack is when Maggie goes to kill Negan. And as she pulls him out of his cell, he's clearly a broken man. And so she leaves him alive. After Rick goes missing and is presumed dead, we learn that Negan has been locked in a cell for over 6 years. And he starts to have a relationship with Judith, helping her with her homework and stuff like
Because
that.
that is
Now we need
shaping
to
up
talk
to be
about
one hell
some
of a
of the good
mid-air collision.
that Negan does when he tries to be redeemed. And as Alexandria is caught in a snowstorm, Negan risks his own safety to save Judith and Dog, and making sure they were safe before his own well-being. And we also can't forget when Negan joined the Whispers. Negan gained their trust before Negan kills Alpha by slitting her throat. As Lydia was getting attacked, Negan came to her rescue. And yes, he did accidentally kill someone, but that was not his intention. His intention simply was to save Lydia. And after Alpha's death, Negan does end up comforting her. And you also can't forget when Negan was the new Alpha, he ended up in a situation where he could have had his power restored and killed Daryl. But instead, Negan simply ended up shooting a Whisper, and Daryl and Negan fought together to kill them, even though it meant Negan might have to go back into that jail cell. And also, Negan tried to make up for and apologize to Maggie and their kid about what he took from them. Now, we do need to discuss how he left Maggie to die. He was the only one there that could save her, as hundreds of walkers was coming towards her, but he left her to die. Now, the biggest question is why? As we see by Negan's actions, and what he said, he was for sure that Maggie was going to kill him. This was not about anything other than self-preservation. In one of Negan's more vulnerable moments, he begs for his wife's life. And some of the people that once saw him as a villain steps up, shielding Negan and his wife from the Commonwealth soldiers. But what do you believe? Do you believe Negan was a good person? And do you believe he could have been redeemed? In my personal opinion, on terms of being a good person before and at the beginning of the apocalypse, no. But I believe that Negan's story is about someone that can change their ways and actually be redeemed, as we saw through him killing Alpha and with him willing to sacrifice himself as long as his wife could live. I believe Negan's story is one about redemption, and I believe as of the modern day at the end of the original series, I believe Negan was redeemed. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And make sure you like and subscribe so you can get updates on my future videos. And I don't have any announcement of what the next video will be because I'm just honestly not sure. I will probably by Wednesday though they'll release a trailer just like I have been doing over the last several weeks. But anyways, I just want to let you know that I actually don't have a update on what the trailer or what the video for next week will be.